Born 1972, drug-addicted father, abused mother, and I learned pretty young that running away was an option. Yeah, the household in Winslow was pretty bad. I mean, stepfather used to call them sessions, sexually abusive or physically abusive. It was safer behind a dumpster than it was, getting abused. I was originally charged with murder 2, but that got dropped down to a simple assault. I could have done life in prison. That was my first encounter with life in prison. But I turned myself into a crackhead. I've still never been the same. Yeah. I was hitting a pipe while driving, and I passed out, blacked out. I pled to involuntary manslaughter in the state of Nevada. I was coming off of heroin at that time because I couldn't find any more veins to shoot. As I said, just go get me a gun so I could shoot myself. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to live anymore. I helped him out the front door, kicked him up, kicked my old lady out the back door, barricade myself in the house, take a whole bunch of pills and nitroglycerin tablets, and try to kill myself.
Who is Jesus to you?
What does he mean to me? I mean, his love and kindness and respect and admiration and gratefulness. And I mean, the love that I've been shown here has been unlike anything I've ever felt in my life. I'm looked down upon. By society. People are scared of me on paper. I don't get that here in this church. Yeah. And every single person that's involved in this church, either working it or being members of it, they welcome me with open arms. They are understanding of my relapse. They're understanding of my ways, and that's how I see Jesus.
Yeah.
That's where I see Jesus at. It's in these people.
What's up, guys? I'm here with John. He's just going to be hopping into his story, talking about his testimony. And the way I know John is through Torin. You guys have seen, if you've watched, go watch that video right now, Torin's testimony. It's very powerful. He's actually behind the camera right now. Say what up, Torin.
What up?
So, John, introduce yourself.
My name's John J. From Arizona, Phoenix. And I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. And happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Amen. Amen.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, of course. So first question, I guess. What's your testimony? Where did it start? Where are you from originally, and how old are you? And
53 years old currently. Born in 1972 in Las Vegas, Nevada. To a drug-addicted father and a abused mother. I'm the baby of 5. My father was a Vietnam vet, got hooked on heroin, opiates, alcohol while in Vietnam, and came home and liked to beat his kids and his wife, and was drunk constantly. He was kicked out of the military, and right after I was born, ran a general's Jeep into a brick wall in Ramstein Air Base, and so they dropped him down to a private and kicked him out of the military. Came back to Las Vegas, and he got a job working at Nevada test site.
Wow.
And being a trucker and a construction worker, building houses out there when they were blowing bombs, testing the bombs for just right outside of Las Vegas. Tonopah or in, whatever area it is right there on the other side of Sunrise Mountain. That continued on until I was 3. My mother just got sick of it. And finally, with the help of the church that she was in, she was a Mormon church, and divorced my dad. And 6 weeks later, she married a man from Winslow, Arizona. His name was Steve. And we moved to Winslow, all of us. My brother instantly rode a 10-speed back to Las Vegas. I mean, he stole the bike and rode a 10-speed back. He was like 16, 17 years old. My older sister, she went directly to college. Another older sister, she got pregnant and got married really young to a guy from Winslow, and she was out of the house. And that just left me and my little sister. I mean, my older sister that's closest to me in age. And Yeah, the household in Winslow was pretty bad. I mean, stepfather used to call them sessions. They were either sexual orientated, or they were, sexually abusive, or physically abusive. And he'd lock me in the bathroom, and we'd, do whatever. I mean, I don't want to get explicit,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But it was mostly physical.
Yeah.
3-4 days a week, physical, just beat downs. I mean, he would literally put hands on me, and like I was a grown man. And I mean, he's a World War II veteran, U.S. Army, and he was a pretty stout guy, and he wanted to discipline the child, mold him into whatever, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that lasted until I was about 6. At 6 years old, my mother drove me to Holbrook, Arizona, to Navajo County Detention Center, and dropped me off.
Dang.
And that was my first taste of jail. Oof. It was weird. Did about a month or so, and then they put me into foster care.
And you were 6 years old at this time?
Yeah, 6 years old.
Wow.
And I was in there for being incorrigible. And back then in the state of Arizona, you could just drop your kid off in detention at a jail, and you don't have to take care of them no more. Okay. The state now runs it, or the county at that point. So I was in and out of foster care. I learned my first foster care family was halfway decent, and then they sent me to another one. And when I went to another one, there was more abuse, more sexual abuse, and more physical abuse. And so I ran away. And I learned pretty young that running away was an option. And because it was safe. It was safer behind a dumpster than it was, getting abused. So in and out of foster care, back at home with my parents, with my mom and my stepdad, or in detention for the next 3 years. The day of my 9th birthday, was the last time my stepfather touched me. We had a session in the bathroom, and I'm sitting there on my bed, and I'm just crying like a baby. And I look over, and there's my present. It's a 28-inch Easton aluminum bat. And I looked at it, and I'm like, ding, ding, ding. And I decided to, take that bat and go make him not hit me no more. So he was laying in his, this was after dinner, and he was laying in his chair watching, Barney Miller on Channel 5. I don't know if you guys are hip to that. Probably not, because you're not from here. But he was watching, and I cracked him in his chest. I swung as hard as I could, and I hit him in his chest, and then I hit him again, and I broke his forearm. And then he ran towards the living room, and I cracked him in his back, and then I turned tail and ran out the door, and got, half a mile down the street or so, and then the police picked me up, go back to detention, and the judge at that time, instead of sending me to foster care or to a halfway house like you normally did, took me out of my home. He sentenced me to Department of Corrections, Juvenile Department of Corrections.
And how old were you?
9.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my 9th birthday.
Dang.
So a couple weeks later, I show up at Adobe Mountain, which is right outside of Phoenix, right out on Happy Valley Road. And I did 6 months. That my first 3 times at Adobe, I was the youngest kid there. A young white kid in a juvenile state prison with a majority of blacks and Mexicans. I was constantly getting jumped, constantly getting beat up. But by then, it didn't hurt. I mean, nothing hurt. No one's going to hit me as hard as my stepfather did.
Yeah.
So it's I kind of thrived on that. I kind of egged it on. I kind of, I learned how to talk a little smack and talk a little,
Yeah.
Just, and I consider myself a little tough guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In and out of Adobe Mountain, repeatedly. If I wasn't at Adobe, I was in a halfway house. Halfway houses didn't last very long. I ran from every single one of them. the longest I stayed was at Arizona Boys Ranch for like 3 weeks, just because it's hard to get out of Arizona Boys Ranch. It was in the middle of Queen Creek, and it was in the middle of the boonies. I mean, it was a 20-mile hike to get to the I-17 or to the I-10 freeway, and you know what I mean, across the desert. And there's nothing there. Now it's Chandler and Gilbert and all that stuff, but back then it was just straight desert. But I got away from there. I went to, I don't know, 15 or 20 halfway houses as a juvenile. 27 times I was in Adobe Mountain, either for, most of them were 2-week parole violation kind of things. And I just was a little hellion. I 14, I got a job working at a Denny's on 7th Street in Camelback as a dishwasher. A couple weeks later, a couple cooks quit on graveyard shift, and they asked me if I wanted to learn how to cook. I was like, sure, run that. You know what I mean? $3.35 an hour as a dishwasher, $8 an hour as a cook. I mean, it's an obvious choice.
Yeah.
They knew the manager there knew my situation, knew that I was on the run from being wanted by the police, and so it was a safe place for me to be, and it was I'm off the street. I'm not I worked for Denny's on and off when I was out, because I mean they would eventually catch me. I mean I was it's law of average. You're going to get caught by the police. I mean back in those days there were truant laws. I don't know if there's still truancy laws here in Arizona, but there were back then.
And what's a truancy law?
If you're not in school and you're an age, you're a kid, you know what I mean, the police will just pick you up.
Yeah.
And, no questions asked, and they'll take you right to Durango, which is the juvenile hall here in Maricopa County.
Yeah.
And, so I was constantly getting caught because I had no place to live. I mean, I had a job working graveyard.
So you were homeless?
Yeah, I was homeless the whole time. I mean, I was always homeless.
Dang.
Yeah. I learned really, really early in life that being homeless was a lot better than being
in an abusive home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Dang.
So I mean, living in trash cans, there was a lady that took care of me a lot. She was a liquor store owner on 35th and Dunlap, and I used to go and help her clean up, and she would feed me. There would be kids' moms that from Adobe Mountain that I'd go run, and I'd stay at this house for 3 days and this house for 4 days, and
Yeah.
back then it was there was bus tickets were nothing. I mean it was I think we did little bus tokens, and if you can get your hands on bus tokens, they were like 2 for 1. You know what I mean? And I had a little bit of money, so I could pay kids like at school, and I'd buy their 10 bus tokens for like $4 or something.
Yeah.
And they'd be happy to have that.
Yeah.
But that's yeah. Let's see what we got. Adobe Mountain. That was cool. I mean, it was a hard one to live, but I grew up tough. I grew up. I grew up. I really didn't like it, but it is what it is, and I learned to accept it. But it was a lot better than living at home, and it was a lot better than living in foster care.
Yeah.
I mean, because foster care in those days were, I had maybe 1 or 2 families that were decent.
Yeah.
But they were always taken away.
Yeah.
I mean, after a couple weeks, they're always all temporary. All foster homes back then were just temporary. No one wanted to keep an unruly kid.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't nice. I mean, I'm not. No, but
because it was like the household you grew up in.
Yeah, but I wasn't nice. I mean, I was a pain in the ass. Excuse my language. I don't want to cuss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? But I was extreme pain in the ass. Hyper. I've been diagnosed as an adult with and as a juvenile with bipolar, severe depression, ADHD. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of things that's wrong with me, but well, about 16 years old, I was working at Denny's, and I'm doing the graveyard shift, and it's like a Friday night, and it's just super busy. It's like a really, really busy Denny's. And 2 other cooks didn't show up that night, so I'm just there by myself, and I'm just working. I'm just slinging groceries, and there's a big tall guy at the end of the line. He's a customer, and he's just standing there just watching me for like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Well, and then I looked at him. I was like, "Hey, man, what do you want? I mean, what do you do?" And he's like, "Hey, you want a job? You want a real job?" And I was like, "I got a job. What are you talking about?" No, he's like, "No, I will really teach you how to cook. I own this. I mean, I'm an executive chef at this place called the French Corner, right there on Central Camelback." And I said, "I mean, I got a job. I mean, I don't need a job." And he said, "Well, I'll pay you $12 an hour." And I was like, $8, $12. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a smart man, but I'm not a dummy either.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is, yeah. I mean, 88, 87, 1987.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's good money in 87.
Yeah.
$12 an hour is, I mean, that's really good money.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was, so I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go work for him. I'll go work for you." So I gave 2 weeks notice to my boss. I mean, my people at Denny's, and then I started working with this guy. He taught me everything I know about cooking. I mean, he's a great executive chef. His name is Bart, and yeah, he was just a good quality dude. 3 months, 4 months into my cooking with him, he sponsored me to go to culinary school, Scottsdale Culinary Institute, right there on Hayden and just Camelback-ish.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with anything over there. It's on the green belt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's back then it was a 15-month program, and I went to the program. I stayed out of trouble for the better part of 15 to 18.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much stayed out of trouble. It was 16 to 18.
Yeah.
I stayed out of trouble, and but I did the culinary school. I graduated, and by that time Bart had moved to the Scottsdale Princess, which is where the Phoenix Open is played.
Mm-hmm.
And really nice 5-star, 5-diamond resort. And I went with him with other cooks from the French Quarter.
Yeah.
And we, it was.
And how old was Bart?
Oh, he was probably 36,
So was
35,
he like
36.
a father figure in a way to you?
He was one of the best people I ever met.
Yeah.
I mean, I never lived at his house. I never, I never, on a personal note, but he was always there for me professionally.
Yeah.
I mean, he always gave me a job, no matter, whenever I came out of jail. Because I did go back to Adobe a couple times in that time period.
Yeah.
Just for a couple weeks, because I would get caught,
Yeah.
by the police or whatever, and they find out I had a warrant, and they'd send me back. And then a couple weeks later, I'd just go right there back, and he would, Well, it was, we could fast forward a little bit. I'm at the Scottsdale Princess. I'm executive sous chef at La Valencia restaurant. It's it's the lower end of the restaurants that they have at the Princess, and it's still a five-star resort. Don't get me wrong, but it's the lower end. It's not the fine dining, Spanish restaurant or the Italian place. But I'm working brunch, and it was like a Tuesday afternoon, and I'm cooking on the line, and it's probably, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I see coming out of his office, Bart comes out of his office, and he's just looking at me like, just shaking his head. I'm probably, I'm 17 by that time, maybe almost about to turn 18, and he's just looking at me, and then I see 2 suits walk behind him, and yeah. The 2 suits were detectives from Sedona Police Department. And back when I was 15, maybe 14 into 14 into 15, I ran from a halfway house in Sedona called American Adventure. And me and a couple kids, we all 17 of us ran from the halfway house on one night. And me and another kid named DJ and John Hutzel and a couple other kids, we burglarized the golf resort and stole a bunch of money and some clothes, and we stole the keys to one of their vehicles, and we took that vehicle to Phoenix, and that's how we got from Sedona to Phoenix. Well,
14 or
yeah, I was probably 14 years old. I mean, into 14, into 15, in that general neighborhood. And so, I mean, like I said, I'm no angel. I've done a lot of stuff in that neighborhood, and I don't want to really get into most of it. You know what I mean? Because,
don't
I've already went to prison for this, so I'm not going to incriminate myself.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to, I don't really want to bring up old things because statute of limitations here in the state of Arizona is, I just don't want to go back to prison.
Yeah.
Well, they walk in, the two detectives walk in, and Bart calls me off the line. He's like, hey, these guys want to talk to you. It turns out that DJ, one of my co-defendants in this case, he got arrested and told on everybody all the crimes he's done. Just laid it out, wrote it out on paper, and this is just one of the crimes, and they came to arrest me for it. And so I'm now almost 18 years old. I was in the best position I've ever been in, financially, mentally, working as a cook. Working 15, 16-hour days at a beautiful 5-star, 5-diamond resort. And I ended up in Yavapai County Jail that night, and on charges of burglary and theft, both Class 3 felonies, and charged as an adult. Even though I was committed as a juvenile, now I'm being charged as an adult.
Okay.
Ended up going to prison. First time, 3.75 years. My first taste of prison, I walked into what they call Alhambra. It's a fish tank induction center, wherever where they classify you and do all your medical stuff when you first get to prison. I walked in there, and it was unlike anything I've ever been in. Juvenile was way rougher, way rougher. There's nobody fighting, there's nobody yelling at each other. It's just a lot of respect, a lot of kickback, a lot of really boring. So me as a hostile kid, I fell right back into my instead of being a productive member of society, a chef, working. I fell right back into that that hostile kid. Yeah. And the first person that said something to me, I'd wall off, and we got into a fight. Went to the hole. A week later, came back out, did the same thing. Got into another fight, went back to the hole. Spent about 3 weeks in Alhambra. Normally, you spend about 4 days, 4 to 6, 7 days at this place, and then you're off to prison. Well, me getting into a couple fights and going to the hole, they classified me, instead of going minimum, where I should have went with 3.75 years. I went to a walking 4, which is a high medium yard, and it was, at that time it was called the Gladiator School. The inmates, what they call those Gladiator School, that's where they put all the dum-dums. And they said, well, if you want to be a dum-dum, right on, here you go. Well, I fell right into the gang life.
Like within the prison? Within the prison,
yeah. Everybody, if you go into prison, everybody who goes there, you're going to pick a side, and it's a shark or a fish.
Yeah.
You're going to be a wolf or you're going to be a lamb.
Yeah.
And I'm not a lamb. I've never been one. I was as a kid.
Yeah.
But I was a victim as a kid, but I victimized people.
Yeah.
Well after that. After my 8th or 9th year, I stopped letting people victimize me. Yeah. And I turned around and did it to them.
Yeah.
Well, I fell right into the trap of prison life and prison gangs, and I volunteered myself to be what they call torpedoes. That means I'd run in if there was somebody that came in and it was a sex offender or a snitch or had whatever the case may be, and they needed to leave the yard. There would be me and 2 others would run into their room and beat the brakes off them and take their stuff and make sure that they understood that they're not allowed, that we don't want them there, and this would happen repeatedly if they stay. And so it was, I did that repeatedly over and over again. Well, I lived in that lifestyle for the first, well, the whole time I was in prison, but the first 2 years I didn't get caught. I was pretty safe with it, and I didn't get caught. And the thing I got caught for first was there was a in Cimarron there was a DPS officer who was a rape, and he was an African American dude, and he
was an officer.
An officer went to
wow.
he
went
raped
to prison.
he raped women on the Wickenburg Highway, and he went to prison for 10 years. I don't know how long he went for, but in prison there's certain races police their own. There's an honor among thieves, if you will, and sex offenders aren't allowed. Snitches aren't allowed. If you got child endangerment or you're a woman beater, it's looked down upon, and they're escorted off the property by the inmates. Well, the African Americans, they don't do that in Arizona because they have really low numbers. I mean, back in that day, whites had 60% of the population. Mexicans were about 20% of the populations, and blacks and natives pulled up the rest with 20. Yeah. And so, they didn't really have the numbers, so they keep their, they hold their own. But this guy was this officer was, one, he was an officer, and two, he was a rapist. And so the whites came up with the bright ass idea that we needed to take this guy out. Well, the problem was this guy stayed at the bubble. He was let out 5 minutes before everybody else was. We only got 2 hours out of our cell every day. But this guy was let out 5 minutes before, and he went right up to the bubble, and he hung out at the bubble. At the bubble, there's a guy with a shotgun up on the top, sticking his shotgun out, constantly, just waiting to, if something happened, you get a warning shot, then live rounds go. And so he would hang out, talk to the officers, and that. So this officer was basically untouchable. Yeah. No one can get to him. He was never in his room. He never had access to him. We couldn't run in on him, like that. So I came up with the bright ass idea to, take a rock off the yard and hold it in my hand and walk up to the bubble and ask for a kite or something. A kite is an inmate letter. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And then just hit him good enough to at least get him off our tier and get him away from our problems. Make him go to another prison or whatever. Well, I hit him, and I walked up, and I got about to the top of the stairs, and the cop in the bubble said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just wanting to get a freaking, I want a kite. That's all I need, man. Just give me a freaking kite. I don't care about this dude. This dude." Excuse my language. I'll try not to cuss, but it's kind of.
It's okay.
Well, the way you talk to officers, COs in prison is I never talk to them with any kind of respect. I make their day horrendous. I mean, that's just the way, what kind of inmate I am. I'm not a nice person.
Yeah.
I'm walking up the stairs, and the CO in the bubble asked me what I want. I say, "Hey man, I just want a kite, man. I don't care about this dude. I mean, just tell him step off and let me get a damn kite."
Yeah.
So he walked up. I mean, he pulled there's a little. I don't know what you call it. Like the banks have them too. They're little, push. They push things, and they got a little drawer that comes out this side, but you can't reach your hand underneath there. Whatever. So I literally, he pulls the thing down, I get to the kite, and I pull the rock out of my pocket, and he's now looking into the other room, and I hit him right here in the back of the head. And the guy went down. I went straight down to the ground. I slid the rock underneath, between my legs, into the card room, which was about 3 feet away, where my partner was. And he picked up the rock, and he went outside, and he threw it outside, and then everybody was down on the ground because this guy was out. And it turns out that I hit him in the back of the head, and his skull went into his brain and killed him.
Bang.
And thankfully, this was 92.
Yeah.
1992, and the camera systems back then weren't digital. They were all analog. They were cameras that were like this big and such. And it was. Thankfully, they didn't see the rock, and so it was just it looked on camera like I just hit him.
Yeah.
So I was originally charged with murder 2, but that got dropped down to a simple assault, and they gave me another 4 years. Thankfully that happened. I could have done life in prison. That was my first encounter with life in prison. But that didn't happen. But I got sentenced. I got sent to. I now left the walking 4, and went to a 5-yard in Florence, which was the maximum security prison. Got to the maximum security prison. 3 months later, I got into another issue with another beat down, and I caught another case and got another simple assault charge and got another 4 years. So I went from going from 3.75, which I should have been out in 2.5 at the most, even with my belligerent ways, to now finishing up a 10-year sentence in prison. And I got out of prison in 1998, and I went right back to school, right back to culinary school. I mean, right back to the Scottsdale Princess.
Wow.
Bart Mundy was still there. I was still mentally good. I mean, I was mentally better. I know I was physically better, but I was still mentally good. And I went back to work, and I 6 months, 7 months later, I decided to transfer within the company to the cruise ship out in Fort Lauderdale. And so I worked on a Princess cruise line, going back and forth between Nassau and Fort Lauderdale, 3-day cruise. And I never left the boat for 7 months. Made a decent amount of money. Left that, and went and bought a Jeep in Fort Lauderdale, and went up the coast. Tried to get a job in New York City. Got a job. Couldn't find a place to live. New York City back then, and it still is very expensive.
Yeah.
Very. I mean, it just wasn't. I just couldn't do it. I wasn't going to share a room with 3 other people. Living in Queens. I mean, living in the hood. Not going to happen. So I went from there to Boston. Same thing. Boston was even more expensive. Then I shot down the coast to New Orleans. Stayed there for about 2 months. Had a job. I mean, I'm a chef, so I could work on the moon. I mean, I can get a job on the. I mean, I can get a job anywhere. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I ended up in Zion National Park, and working at the lodge in Zion National Park, and I was a sous chef there, and I was basically running the breakfast and lunch line, and I'm in the bar one night, and I'm having some drinks, and I hear John Jack. I turn around, and it's one of my ex-girlfriends.
Oh, wow.
She's in the lodge and at the bar, and she's with this guy. So I walk over there and introduce myself and hung out. We hung out for the next 3 days. This guy was a Navy. He was in the Navy in San Diego. And he just happened to be, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. I hadn't seen her in 5, 6, 8 years, however long it was. But it turned out that me and this guy named Stuart, we got along very well. I mean, super duper well. He invited me to live at his place in San Diego, rent free.
Yeah.
If I just come there, because he and his roommates were all in the Navy, and they're gone constantly. And they need somebody there who's not in the Navy to watch out for the house, and that would be my rent.
Yeah.
And I was like, San Diego? Are you kidding me? Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I mean, I've never been to San Diego, but I've only heard good things. Moved to San Diego and instantly got a job. I was living in Coronado. They were all in the Navy, but they were always gone. I lived in Coronado at their little 6-bedroom house, and I worked in La Jolla at a place called La Valencia Restaurant. La Valencia Hotel, a place that John Wayne built back in the 30s for movie stars, and it was the Tower Room. I mean, it's a beautiful place. It's right there on the Cove in La Jolla. It's got cabanas going all the way down. I mean, it's a 5-star, 5-diamond resort. A beautiful place. And I love San Diego. I mean, it was a great place. Problem is that I just couldn't keep my thing in my pants.
Yeah.
I had a very, very, a tendency of sleeping with random women and drinking a lot and sleeping with more random women and drinking more. And well, I ran into a girl. She was my first wife. We met, got married, 9, 11 months later. And life was pretty good with her, but I mean, I was just a cheater. I mean, I couldn't keep my,
Yeah.
yeah, it was, it was, I don't know, being a chef, having a decent amount of money. I mean, because at that time, I was making $70,000 a year working at La Valencia. I mean, I was executive sous chef. I was doing real well for myself. But I was just partying like a crazy person because I had no rent. You know what I mean? I was using their cars to go back and forth to work. I didn't have any responsibility. No, all the money that I was making was just going to partying. And, you know, I mean, I worked 12, 15-hour days, but, you know, never took any days off. But, you know, there were, you know, I stayed up for, you know, partied every night. Well, got married to this girl, and we did pretty good. I mean, she became a deputy sheriff in San Diego.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She was going to school to be a physical therapist at SDSU. And that didn't work out too well because she couldn't do the anatomy. Anatomy 2. I don't know if you're familiar with anatomy or not, but it's not an easy course. Dead smelly cat in your refrigerator in the second and third semester was what, you know, took it off. And then she was doing the human cadavers. That's what really turned her off on the whole physical therapy aspect or anything in medical. So, you know, I helped her get it. I mean, I didn't help her, but I saw that there was a CO job, you know, at the county jail, and she said, I don't think I could do that. I said, oh no, you'll be fine. Ain't nobody gonna bother you if you treat them with respect. You treat them nice, they're gonna treat you nice. They're not gonna, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Plus, you got all these meatheads that are working with you that are gonna protect you.
Yeah.
So, but she turns out she did it. You know, she started out as a CO, and then, you know, 6 months later she was on the street as an actual deputy. And she excelled. I mean, she's a very smart woman. I mean, genius level smart, and she's just a really good girl. But we were probably, it was 2002. 2003, I got approved for a $460,000 loan to get a house. But the problem is in San Diego, you can't even get an apartment. You can't even get a one-bedroom condo for that price.
That's crazy.
No, so we decided to, you know, pack up and move to Las Vegas. She took a test to see if she can to get hired at the Metropolitan Police Department in Las Vegas. And she passed the test, and she was hired there. So we packed up and left. I mean, I can quit my job, whatever I was at. Las Vegas is a mecca for chefs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No big deal. We go to Las Vegas, and I'm sitting there waiting for the culinary union, because I mean, you have to join the union when you're in Las Vegas. It's a big union town. Culinary union is the largest union, you know, that's there. And so I had to wait my turn, and one night she was at work. I met a couple guys in the apartment complex, and we went out drinking, and that was the first night I smoked crack. And it was crack was I mean, I've done other drugs in the past here and there, and I've never really let that get control of me or let it you know, run my life. But crack was a different monster.
Yeah.
I mean, I make jokes now. I smoked crack once for about 8 months, but you know, it was more like about 3.5 months. But it was a very, I mean, it's a very, very bad drug. Very bad, and it got a hold of me, and it did things to me that's I've still never been the same.
Yeah.
Well,
share what you want.
That night, one of the nights I was smoking crack, and I was getting drunk in another apartment complex that was on, you know, around the corner from where I lived. I decided to instead of walking around like I normally do, I decided to jump the wall between the apartment complexes. And it's a pretty good sized wall. I mean, it's 6 foot or something, you know, I mean, one of the brick walls. Well, I jumped the wall, and I landed heel down, both heels down at the same time. and I broke both feet, both clavicles, both heel bones in both feet, and 7 other bones in my left foot. And yeah, it was that. And then from then on, I turned into a full-blown crackhead.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't go to work. Now the culinary union called me, a week later, said, "Hey, we got a spot for you." And I was like, "Well, I just broke both my feet. I can't work for another 6 weeks at least. Sorry." And they said, "Well, we'll keep you on the list. Don't worry about it." And so but I turned myself into a crackhead. I had the drug dealer come to my house. I started spending all the money that we saved for both our jobs in San Diego, the money we were saving to get into a house in Las Vegas. And yeah, I'm a crackhead. My ex-wife is a Metropolitan Police Department. She works for them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a.
She didn't know, or what?
No.
Dang.
No, and she never paid attention to the finances like that. She knew that we had a lot. She knew that we had a decent amount of money. I've always been, as she's known me, a drinker,
Yeah.
but nothing else. I mean, I drank, 4, 5, 6 nights a week. You know what I mean? But I never took it to the extreme. I never did any drugs.
Yeah.
Once in a while I dabbled in them, but she had no clue.
Yeah.
But I learned how to hide it from her, and I learned how to hide it pretty well. The morning of our 3rd wedding anniversary, now I'm healed. Now I got both my feet healed, and I'm waiting for the culinary union again. Well, the morning of our 3rd wedding anniversary, I snuck out about 4 o'clock in the morning and took her car and drove over to the drug dealer's house, picked up some drugs, smoked some crack there, and there was a female there that was in the crack house too, in this guy's drug dealer's house. I won't call it a crack house, but she asked me if I'd take her home. I was like, "Sure, I'll take you home." Well, it turns out we went to the boonies instead to go smoke more crack. I mean, 'cause that's what crackheads do. We just smoke crack. And on the way home, I was hitting a pipe while driving, and I passed out, blacked out, and I woke up and the car was upside down. Turns out we hit the embankment, flipped 5 or 6 times going down the road. She got ejected through the sunroof and was crushed by the vehicle on the 3rd and 4th and 5th roll or what have you, and died on the scene.
So you got charged, I'm assuming, with involuntary manslaughter?
First charge was murder too. And they were going after me. It was on a Moapa Indian reservation, so I was looking at federal time and state time at the same time. And they charged me with murder too, and those charges were later dropped and went down to DUI, death, and involuntary manslaughter. And it turns out I got a really good attorney. My ex-wife's parents put up a large sum of money to pay for an attorney, and they got me out of jail. And so I'm off crack, but I mean, as soon as I got out of jail, I went right back to the dealership and the crack dealer, and bought some more crack, and then started right back up. I mean, the minute I got out of jail, it's that bad. It had that big of a hold on me. A couple weeks later, we're sitting in an apartment in our new apartment, and I met somebody else, and he said, "Ben, you got to get off that crack," and he gave me a meth pipe, and
you got hooked to meth?
Yeah, replaced one with the other. And
were you smoking crack as well, or just?
No, I stopped the crack because it was way too expensive, and it was kind of hard to hide the finances from my wife.
Yeah.
Now that.
So you guys were still together?
Yeah. She told me. I mean, it was when I got out of jail, and I was out on bail. She told me that marriage is for better or for worse. It's pretty damn worse right now.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stick with you. I'm still gonna stick. We're. I don't want to get married. I don't want to get divorced. I don't want to leave you. Well, So I started smoking meth, and that drastically reduced the money that I was taking out of the accounts, and to pay for it. I mean, I'm going from 450 a day, $400 a day in crack, to 120 a week in meth. So significant difference in money wise, and so it was easier for me to do it, and it was equivalent to it was the kind of high that I was getting from crack, and I was able to get off crack, but I replaced it with meth. Eventually, I go to jail. Eventually, she gets pregnant, and 3 months into her pregnancy, I got rearrested and sent to jail, and somehow got a really, really sweetheart deal of a 4 to 10. I was looking at 2 8 to 20s instead. 2 8 to 20s running wild. That means I would have done an 8 to 20 and then got paroled and then done another 8 to 20. So probably 32 years I would have done total. And I ended up getting 4 to 10.
So what was this charge? Did you go back for the
Involuntary
It was the
manslaughter.
same.
Yeah, I pled to involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
In the state of Nevada.
Oh, because you had to go back to court.
Yeah,
And
I went back
so
to court.
You went out on bail. And,
yeah. Well, it was we had to put 2 years in between the accident and the conviction to avoid a wrongful death suit.
Yeah.
Because her family was looking to sue, and since it was my wife's car, they could have sued her and taken her for all her money and taken me for all my. And that was not something I wasn't. So we put 2 years in between. Well, I got convicted of that, and then I got sentenced to prison in Nevada. And in Nevada, it's a completely different tomato than here in Arizona. I went from 60% population of whites in Arizona to 80% population of African Americans in Nevada. So I went from the top of the hill over here back down below where I was. Yeah. The lowest I've ever been, on the totem pole, on the hierarchy, if you will, in prison. Yeah. And it was a shell shock, but I'm a tough little dude, so I was able to excel in that place, but I got into problems. I got into an incident with a CO and another inmate, and that jumped me from the medium yard that I was on all the way up to the max yard. And I stayed the next 6.5 years on that max yard. The end of my sentence, I did 8 years, 3 months, something like that. 8 years, 3 months, 27 days in Nevada. And the last 6.5 of those years, I was on a 5-5 yard as an HRP, which means a high-risk prisoner, which means that there's no human contact. Only time you leave your cell is when you have 3 officers that are in full riot gear.
And how long?
6.5 years in that cell. Yeah, and that's where I lost it mentally. Yeah. I mean, I went from a pretty strong-willed guy. I had drug problems that kind of threw me off the cliff, but I was still hanging on. I was still okay with it. But that 6.5 years inside behind that door, and that maximum security unit really threw me for a. Yeah. I mean, it put me into a very hostile situation. I was mad at the world, very, very upset with everything. I got out in 2012, into 2012, and I was now homeless again. My wife had divorced me, obviously. I mean, I'm in prison for, 8 years. I'm in prison for 10 years, and there's she's a cop. Yeah. And, her supervisors are like, duh. I mean, what are you going to do, dummy? Yeah. I mean, you're gonna stay with this guy and ruin your career, or you're gonna, get rid of this guy and move on. Well, it's obvious choice, obvious. My son was born while I was in prison, and I don't have a relationship with him, and that's, that's
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. I saw him a couple times when he was a kid, and then we got the divorce, and then that relationship was gone. She she took custody away from me in the after the divorce was finalized, rightfully so. Yeah. And I had no visitation rights, no whatever with the kids. So I was, well, 2012 I got out, and I was homeless. I had no money. I don't have any family. What family I do have, I don't talk to them. Mm-hmm. And so I was back on the streets. I competed with the Paisa down in Home Depot parking lot. For the first couple weeks, got a couple jobs, got enough money to get me into a bus, got me back to San Diego, because I knew that San Diego was nice. I knew the weather was beautiful. I knew that Balboa Park, there was a lot of homeless people there. So you could easily sleep on the side of the freeway in California, and it's going to be okay, because there's food, it's going to be okay. I get to San Diego, and man, I was okay. But I got addicted to smoking spice, and spice was another one that literally threw me for another. It was as bad or worse than crack. And spice is legal. You can buy it right there at the smoke shop. Right there at Circle K's, right there at any liquor store in town. I'd walk down the hill into the liquor store, grab me two little jars of spice, go back up to my little spot, and sit there and smoke all day. But I was, like I said, I was very hostile, very mean, very mad at the world. I wouldn't let anybody approach me, wouldn't let anybody get close to me. And if they did, I would either yell at them, talk them down, prison check them, if you will, or I would assault them. Okay. If they got,
Do you think maybe you could have been possessed, demonically possessed?
Man, I could have been possessed for a long time.
Yeah.
I've done some very, very, very bad things in my life, but I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
I'm really not. I don't consider myself an evil person, but I've done a lot of evil things. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. And I've had some bad breaks, but it's I don't know. There's a
sin drive us to do it.
There's
not really us.
I was a victim as a child.
Yeah.
Victim mentality is okay to use as a child, but I volunteered from 15 on. Yeah. I can't blame anybody else but myself. Yeah. For the decisions. Because I made every single one of those decisions. Yeah, I had some bad luck right before I went to prison the first time. Mm-hmm. That was some really bad luck. It's something that I did years before. I'm better. I'm doing as best as I can in a situation where I got a really good job, I got a really good boss, I got a supportive boss. Yeah. And then it just, my past comes out and catches me again. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh. Yeah. But that was, I don't want to say that I'm that I'm just a victim my whole life and all woe was me, because that's not the case. Yeah. I'm not that much of a victim. Yeah. I volunteered a lot. Yeah. The San Diego thing was nice, but I was addicted to this spice stuff. Then they took it off the market, and then California outlawed it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm literally in a place where I have to have it. Yeah. It's more addictive than way more addictive than heroin, way more addictive than I've ever had anything. Mm. I was wanting it. So I left San Diego and I came to Phoenix, and because in Phoenix they're still smelling spice. Yeah. I'm sitting down at Margaret T. Hance Park. It's a park down in Central Phoenix, and an old man comes up to me, and on a Sunday afternoon, and he's like, "Hey, you mind if I sit down and talk to you?" I was like, "Okay, whatever, man, if you want to." He puts down a bucket of chicken, and he's like, "Hey, you want some chicken?" And I was like, "Yeah." I started eating, so I was eating some chicken. We talked about 20 minutes, and he up and leaves the chicken. So I'm like, cool. Thanks for the chicken. Thanks for the taco, man. Whatever. And he does this for the next 5 or 6 weeks in a row. And, at the end of that 5 weeks, he asked me, "Hey, do you want to work?" I was like, "Ain't nobody gonna hire me, man. I'm a convicted murderer. I got multiple assault charges. I got, I've done 20-something years in prison. At that point, it was only 20-something, whatever years. But he said, "I'll hire you." I said, "Well, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm an art dealer in Scottsdale. Got a place in Scottsdale, Estes Park, Colorado, Topeka, Kansas. I mean, I would love to hire you. So I was like, wow, that's... So I started working for him. For the next 8 years, I worked for an art dealer. And he taught me everything I know about selling art, antiques, this and that and the other. But the problem is that I was still doing dope. Yeah. And now I was doing meth and heroin. I got off Spice, and I went right back to meth, and then right back to heroin, and drinking every day, and I had unlimited money. I was working 15% commission at an art gallery in Old Town Scottsdale, where we had great customers, great money. I mean, I was making hand over fist, well over the most money I've ever made. Yeah. And, but 2018, I got arrested. I had a standoff at my house in Scottsdale, and 6-hour standoff with the Scottsdale Police Department, and they arrested me, put me in jail, went back to prison.
What was like the standoff for?
They overheard when the 911 call was made. I was into a fight with my girlfriend at the time, and my boss was there at the house, and he called 911 saying that, that just to get me help, because he saw that I was in a psychosis. I was in a mess psychosis. I was really bad off. And I was coming off of heroin at that time because I couldn't find any more veins to shoot. So I was detoxing off of heroin, but I was in mess psychosis, and we were just fighting, and they overheard gun. Because I said, just go get me a gun so I could shoot myself. Because I didn't want to live anymore. Well, they overheard the gun. Cops came. I helped Bill. He was, at that time, he was like 84, 85 years old. I helped him out the front door, kicked my old lady out the back door, barricade myself in the house, take a whole bunch of pills and nitroglycerin tablets, and try to kill myself, and it didn't work. They rushed in the house, 6 hours later, came and got me, pumped my stomach, and I went to prison. A couple years later, I get out, 2020, COVID. I'm now with my second wife, because we got married right after I got out, and she's a great girl. I mean, but I did the same thing with the first one I did with the second one. Instead of cheating, I just lied. She doesn't do dope. She drinks a little bit and she smokes a little bit of weed, but I was hiding the fact that I was smoking meth, and doing it religiously, and right in the same house with her, but hiding it from her, and lied about where I was at and what I was doing and where I was going. I never cheated on her, but I did lie about everything else. And I didn't report to my probation officer when I got out of prison. So, that was 5 years later. I get rearrested for probation violation. They put me in jail, and they give me a reach out. Reach out is a program that Maricopa has where inmates can go to drug rehab instead of going to jail, instead of doing all their time in jail. I did 2 months in jail, got out, got to Crossroads. Crossroads is where I met you at. Remember that Sunday night of Bible study? Yeah.
Dang.
And so I'm in Crossroads, and I'm doing really, really good. I mean, I had a health scare. I thought I was good. I thought I had cancer, and turned out I didn't. But thank God. But I was doing really well. That's where I met Torin. Met you. I did Bible study. I did a bunch of groups. I did meetings. I did my 12 steps. I was really good off there. I mean, I thought I was doing really well. I thought I had my head on straight. Yeah. And I did 90 days there, 88 days and a half. And 2 nights before I was supposed to graduate, I up and left. Did what I always do. I ran. Didn't think I was. I didn't have a place to go. I don't, once again, I don't have family. I don't have, friends. I don't have, I don't have any money. And instead of asking for help of people that I've met in the program, people that truly, honestly cared for me and wanted to see me succeed, and all I had to do was just ask for a little help. You know, hey, what can, you know what I mean? Is there something we can, something you can help me out with?
Yeah.
You know, what I mean, maybe help me get into a sober living, or whatever the case may be. I just up and decided to leave, and I ran. I mean, I didn't run, but I left Crossroads and went right back to my dealer's house, got some more meth, and this was 12 days ago.
Dang.
12 days ago. And 13 days ago, something like that. It was the 8th. Yeah, so it was just a couple days ago.
Dang.
So I literally, I'm now on the street. It's the hurricane's coming through town. I don't know, you remember a couple of weeks ago there was a hurricane coming through, and I'm high as death again, and I'm smoking this stuff, and every time I take a hit, I have Easy Does It go through my head, or the 9-step promises, or the 3rd-step prayer, or the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Just all these things kept coming through my head. So it's like I'm not getting high anymore. I'm not doing this. I'm wondering to myself, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're gonna go down this road again? You're just stupid. You're just gonna kill yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to die. What are you doing? So I literally balled up what dope I had, and I had a pipe, and I went and threw it in a trash can, and decided to go to my storage unit in Mesa. I have a storage unit full of art and antiques from when I still worked for, when I worked for this art dealer.
Yeah.
He used to pay me in art and antiques. And so I have, a pretty significant collection, 4,000 or 5,000 pieces of art, you know what I mean, and antiques and such, that are sitting in a storage unit in Mesa. So I was like, okay, I can go live in there. I mean, it's a lot better than being on the street, you know what I mean? I don't have any more drugs. I don't have any money, you know what I mean? But I can make some money. I can start selling my stuff online and, do what I. So I get to my storage unit in Mesa, and I start going to meetings again. I start walking to a Get It Together group. It's called Get It Together. It's in Chandler, Mesa area. And I start walking to those meetings, and I go to 2 or 3 meetings a day. And last Thursday night, I just got back, and I checked my phone, and there's a message from Torrin. Hey, call me. Like, okay, so I mean, I'm a couple of days before then, I wouldn't have called him.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed. Yeah. I'm not in a good way. You know what I mean? I'm just embarrassed of what I've let myself do again.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? Because I mean but I picked up the phone and I called him, and he said, "Hey bro, where you at, dog?" I mean, it's a Torrin talks. He said, "Hey bro, how you at, dog?" And I was like, "I'm in a storage unit in Mesa, Country Club, Guadalupe." You know what I mean? He's like, "All right, I'm coming to get you." I was like, "What?" "I'm coming to get you." "Yeah, I'm just coming to get you." And I was like, "Cool." But I mean, I guess cool, man. I mean, I'm at that point. I mean, I don't know how close. I mean, he knows, but I was contemplating suicide. I hadn't eaten, but I mean, my sister came and brought me food earlier that day. But 2 days prior to that, I didn't eat at all. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any money. I don't have any cigarettes. I didn't have anything that was, and I'm sitting in a box a non-refrigerated box, a non-air conditioned box, really, really hot in the daytime, cold at nighttime, and I'm contemplating suicide. I'm just in one of the worst positions I've ever been in my life. And, "Hey dog, where you at?" I mean, "I'm coming to get you. Don't worry." I mean, this man right here. I mean, Torrin, he's just a beautiful, beautiful person, and since I've come, I'm now the man on the couch in his house. He has five people now that live in that house, and he's a pastor here at this church we're in, and he's a great guy, and he's shown me so much love over the since I've known him, and he's taught me a very valuable lesson: to ask for help. Yeah. When you need the help, ask for help. Sometimes in life you can't do it all on your own. I've never.
Yeah, we want to white knuckle it a lot of the
I've
times,
never, not one time in my life have I asked for help. Ever. I've always done it on my own.
Yeah.
If I couldn't get it, I'm taking it. If I couldn't take it, I don't need it. Or I'm going to work for it. You know what I mean? I tried not to do any of the criminal stuff, except for the drug use and the self-deprecating stuff.
Yeah.
Until since I was a kid. I mean, I haven't committed a crime, like a property crime, or or assaulted anybody since I was a teenager or young adult.
Yeah.
But that was in prison. I haven't committed a property crime since I've been 14 or 15 years old. It's not like I'm out there, breaking into people's cars and burglarizing people's houses, or walking up and hitting people upside the head with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
That's just not the type of person I am.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to work. I'd rather earn my money. I'd rather, and not ask for a single thing from anybody.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way that goes.
Yeah.
I've always been that way. I've lived on my own essentially since I've been 6 years old. And
do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was about to.
Scrapping, yeah.
I was
Okay.
about to ask.
Then now I'm a man on the couch, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm grateful to be back in the fold. I'm grateful to be in part of this church that this young man's a part of, and I'm so ever grateful that he brought me back into his life and it gave me a shot.
Yeah.
So thank
So
you.
on the podcast with Torrin, he talked about how he met Jesus through pastor here, Dave, I think, right? His name's Dave. And so I want to ask you, what does Jesus mean to you? Or who is Jesus to you?
I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to be, to have him in my life. And what does he mean to me? I mean, his love and kindness and respect and admiration and gratefulness. And I mean, the love that I've been shown here has been unlike anything I've ever felt in my life. I'm looked down upon. I'm, by society. People are scared of me on paper. I mean, you look at me. I don't think I'm looked that bad. I don't think I look like that. I'm the, mean,
bad,
tough
bro.
guy. You know what I mean?
Good,
But
bro.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But on paper, I'm flipping Charles Manson.
Yeah.
I'm the worst you can get. You know what I mean? I'm the canal killer. I'm the, whatever it is. You know what I mean? People are, on paper. You go and been verified. You're going to see some things that you don't want to see.
Yeah.
I don't get that here in this church.
Yeah.
I don't get that with not only Torrin, but with Pastor Dave and Pastor Mike and his wife and every single person that's involved in this church, either working it or being members of it. Yeah. They've welcomed me with open arms. They're understanding of my relapse. They're understanding of my ways, and just giving me that helpful and that's how I see Jesus.
Yeah.
That's where I see Jesus is in these people, and how they're by example, they're showing me how to live a better life. I mean, how they treat people is just it's unlike anything I've ever been involved in my life.
Yeah, there's a verse in Matthew that says, it basically says, let your light shine before others so that they may glorify your Father who is in heaven, right? Or see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. So that's very powerful, because the Holy Spirit is what, gives us that light to be a light for other people in darkness. And it's just amazing how recent this is even,
And truly, they never take credit. Torrin never takes credit.
Yeah.
He's always, praise God.
Yeah.
Praise God.
God, yeah.
Yeah. You hear that out of his mouth 20 times. Praise God.
Yeah.
It looks just like that. Praise God. Pastor Dave, same thing. Oh, I'm just a vessel. I'm not doing it. It's God doing it. Jesus is doing this.
Yeah.
We didn't make the decision. Jesus put that on my mind to come get you.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Jesus said that, not me.
Yeah.
I'm just a vessel.
Yeah.
But the way they're showing me, the way the example that they're setting is something I want to strive to be.
Yeah.
I want to strive to be. I want to be able to, one day help out somebody that was in my shoes.
Yeah.
You know, what Torrin did for me, picking me up out of a storage unit at 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right after I just walked from Tempe with no shoes on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I lost my shoes in Tempe.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you that part. But no, it's a, you know, I mean, it's a, for that, for giving me a place to live on the couch, for feeding me, for treating me like I'm a good human being instead of treating me the way most people treat me.
Yeah. And there's a verse that says, you know, live a life worthy of the gospel, right? So it's like recognizing like Jesus' sacrifice for us.
Yeah.
And the works are a byproduct of the faith and the trust you have in him, because faith is just another word for trust.
Yeah.
Right? Where he produces these things in our heart, and the good stored up in our heart is released out into the world. There's a verse that talks about this. It says the evil that is stored up in someone's heart is released as evil, and then the good that's stored up is released. So, yeah, man, this is just such a powerful testimony.
I appreciate it, man. I'm doing my best to keep in the Word, to not let these guys down.
Yeah.
But to improve myself.
Yeah.
To where I can be, you know, following in their footsteps, in their shoes, and act the way they acted towards me when I get a chance to do it with somebody else.
Yeah, I mean,
I've immersed myself in Jesus. I've immersed myself in the Bible. Yeah. I don't do anything, but I don't listen to regular music anymore. Yeah. I don't watch TV. Obviously, you saw there's no TV in the house, but we have Bible study every night. Yeah. We sit there and talk by the fire. We have a fire in the backyard. We sit there and talk about Jesus and talk about God and talk about, you know, how life is and how the love for, you know,
that's where you see the Holy Spirit.
The love affair with Jesus to us. And we were just talking about that the other day. And I'm just so grateful to have this opportunity, you know, not to be, you know, hanging from the rafters in my storage unit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And praise God. And I'm so happy for my whole situation that I have right now. That it's just like it's like an 80th chance for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've been, you know, I've had, but
you've
just to have this opportunity is something that I'll never ever forget.
Yeah.
Never.
I mean, you lived through more than, like, by the time you were 6, you've lived through more than people will ever live in their entire life. Yeah. So it's like
at least negative stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the pain and the suffering you had to go through, I can't imagine. And I know you say it was partially on you, but it was also on the people that did that to you at a young age, and it molded you into something that you didn't want to be.
Yeah, no, definitely put me down a road that I didn't want to be in.
Yeah.
And I had to, you know, it was.
But praise God, you made it out.
I'm still here, and God's got something for me, something special for me, because I mean, there's. Why am I still here? Yeah. Why am I still on this planet? Why am I still sucking oxygen? Yeah. I have no idea. It's got to be something good coming up. Yeah. Because I mean, he keeps bringing me out of you know, the grasp of Satan, and in hell he brought me out again. Yeah. I mean, he literally went and got me out again. He just went in there and come here, Steve. Yeah. I mean, come back with me. You know what I mean?
Praise God.
Praise God. I'm fortunate. And I'm grateful. I'm happy. Yeah. I'm really, really happy that it's happened that way.
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your testimony.
I hope it wasn't too gruesome. I hope it wasn't too bad.
No, it was perfect, man. It was perfect.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate
of course. You, take care, guys. God bless you guys. Love you guys. Peace.
Peace. Don't do drugs.